Hello there, this is Brother Todd, and I am coming to you right now. This is Sunday evening, 9/21, 2025, and I regret to tell you that I am going to have to change my opinion that I had on a current event. So, many of you may have seen the video in which I was doing a reaction to Medic for Christ, who was speaking about Brother Joshua and his prediction for the rapture being this year's Feast of Trumpets. First of all, I want to say that I still hold uh, Brother Joshua and Medic for Christ in high esteem, and I do not think that they have intended to deceive anybody or that they're doing anything untowards. I do not know either one of them personally. I believe that they are men of God. I believe that they have their hearts in the right place. Um, I just believe that there may have been some kind of mistake made at some point or another. But, I'll get into that in a minute. So I just want to let you know that, well, first of all, it's not that it wasn't possible. One of the main comments that I kept getting on that video, which has garnered almost 200,000 views at this point, but one of the main comments that I would get is people saying that this claim can't be made by Brother Joshua because no one knows the day or the hour according to the Bible. And yes, that is true. Matthew chapter 24, verse 36 says that no man knows the day or hour. Jesus made that quote. He said that when he was on the earth, it had not been revealed to him because he had separated himself from the full deity of knowledge, of omniscience. So he didn't know everything in the time frame that the Father knew at that time because he had separated himself from some aspects of his divinity so that he would be able to have a true human experience. So he could be fully God and fully man. He had to be somewhat separated from having all the knowledge about the future that God the Father has, and from some other things like he had to be able to feel real pain. He had to be able to feel real emotional trauma and separation from the Father so that he would be able, so that his sacrifice wouldn't be a cheat. Because if he wasn't experiencing everything as a human would, as you or I would, then him paying the price on Calvary for us, taking on the sins of the world and experiencing the pain and experiencing what torture and a crucifixion like that would feel like. If he wasn't experiencing it as a human, then it wouldn't be a real atonement. It wouldn't be a real sacrifice. So he had to separate himself from some of his deity in order to be able to have the experience as a human and go through that ordeal and his sacrifice take our place. So, sorry to go off on a tangent on that, but that is why that he said only the Father knows. Yes, he was fully God, but he had separated himself from all the knowledge of the future that God the Father has. So, most theologians, myself included, would agree that Jesus now, as he is standing next to the Father at the throne, he knows when he's going to be coming in the rapture. But at the time that he made that statement while he was walking the earth, he did not know, and he could not tell us. It's a really good time to let you know that I cherish your support and your subscription and your viewership, and I appreciate all of you for the different ways that you support me, and I pray that you continue to do so, and I pray that you find my videos inspiration to tell others about Jesus, and that if you have the opportunity to use my video that teaches about the plan of salvation, if you're not sharing what I if you're not sharing what I have put out there with my video, I do not mind if you take and use it word for word to make your own video to share with others the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ, and how to accept him as Savior. So, that being said, let's get back to what I'm saying. But anyway, but the reason why that it was not a violation of that verse for Brother Joshua to be making the statement that he thought that it was going to be on this Feast of Trumpets is because, in all actuality, the Feast of Trumpets is known as the day and hour no one knows. In Jewish tradition, there'd be two possible days that the Feast of Trumpets could occur, that it could begin on, and they wouldn't know which day it was until the two witnesses saw the sliver of the new moon in the sky. And when they saw the sliver of the new moon in the sky, they would go and verify that with the leaders and tell them, we have seen it, and the leaders would verify it, and they would declare the beginning of the Feast of Trumpets, and they would begin to blow the shofar and go through a series of blasts, and the very last trumpet blast on the shofar was known as the last trump. So when most of us believe that the reason why that it's such a telling time that he will be fulfilling that feast like he fulfilled the spring feast, that the first fall feast that would be fulfilled is on the Feast of Trumpets, and that it correlates to the rapture, because Jesus told us no man knows the day or hour, and the Feast of Trumpets is also known as the day and hour no one knows. So Brother Joshua believing that it was going to be this Feast of Trumpets didn't mean that he was saying that he knew the exact day and hour, which would contradict what Jesus said, but that somebody can know that it's going to be a certain Feast of Trumpets, and they still wouldn't know the exact day and hour, because it could be either day, and it's only known when the sliver of the new moon appears in the sky. And so that's possible. However, all that being said, I have two people that I hold in high regard. One is a very proficient evangelist that is in tune with that is really in tune with God and the signs of the times, and another pastor who also is a prophet, and I have verified their prophetic ability because I've personally met them, and they told me something about myself. I was before them for healing. They have the gift of healing, and through the power of Jesus Christ, they can't heal anybody on their own, but through the power of Jesus Christ, they are a conduit of healing. And I was before them. There was something that I had going on that I hadn't told anybody about, that I had kept private, and not even told a friend or family member or anything about. And this prophet told me about this situation that was going on. I went in front of him for healing of my ears, but he brought up something else that I did not tell him about, and had not told my family, my kids, hadn't told anybody else this other problem. And he told me about it, and then proceeded to be the conduit of healing for it. So I know that he hears words of knowledge from the Lord, and I've also heard this same prophet make declarations of The Lord told me that this was going to happen, and it was well before the date that that thing actually occurred. On multiple occasions, I've heard prophecies of his come true. But anyway, so this particular prophet has said that he does not believe that the rapture is going to take place on this year's Feast of Trumpets. So, because of these two men of God that I hold in high regard, that I hold in high esteem, and who I believe have a hand on the pulse of God and of what He's doing in the world right now, and they do not believe that it's the rapture is going to happen on this Feast of Trumpets, I've had to amend my opinion. And I had stated that I never have claimed to have the gift of prophecy. I never claimed that I had heard a prophetic word or anything. I had just said that it seemed to me that what Brother Joshua said was very highly possible, and that it very well could be this Feast of Trumpets. Well, now I am changing my opinion on that, and I do not believe that it is going to be this year's Feast of Trumpets. And as I said, I do not believe that Brother Joshua or Medic for Christ have tried to deceive anybody, or trying to pull a fast one, or doing this for any kind of personal gain or anything. I just believe that there has been some kind of mistake along the way, and I don't hold it against them. I don't, you know, as far as I know, the only thing that has come to pass by anybody believing that it was this year's Feast of Trumpets is that people have decided to get closer to God. People have evangelized more. They have shared the gospel more, tried to lead more people to Christ, and live their life fully for Him, with the possibility that the end of the church age was about to be upon us, and getting themselves in order, telling their friends and family about Jesus. And I think that is only a positive thing. So, thank you so much for hearing my opinion on this, and I hope that nobody out there has made any kind of decisions or done anything that they wouldn't have done had they not heard my opinion that it was going to be this Feast of Trumpets, or that it was very highly possible it was going to be this Feast of Trumpets, or if they completely believe Brother Joshua due to my video on the topic. So, if that is true, I apologize for any inconvenience that I may have caused. But let's not, this is, if this is not it, this is good news. I mean, a lot of people were looking forward to it being this time. And yes, it would be great to go home and be with the Lord and to see our loved ones that have gone on before. But think of it as this way: it is God's desire that none perish without having received Jesus as Lord and have accepted salvation. It is God's desire that everybody comes into the knowledge of their Savior, of Jesus as their Savior, and that they accept Him and accept the way that He paved to have eternal fellowship with God in heaven, and to escape hell and separation from God. So the good news, the good news that this is not going to be this Feast of Trumpets being the rapture, is that we have more time to evangelize. We have more time to reach the world for Christ and tell everybody that we know and everybody that we have a chance to come into contact with, to support other evangelists and do street preaching, and everybody in your sphere of influence that you come into contact with, that you share the gospel with them, and let as many people as we can know the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ and be able to come into fellowship with the Lord so that they are not separated from God for all eternity. So, thank you so much for watching this, and I pray that you have a blessed day or evening, whichever they may be. This is Brother Todd signing off, and I hope I haven't inconvenienced anybody. God bless you.